Hi everyone, Donna McElvaney here, and today we're going to be doing another video of doing bright mix. We're going to do some plan pooling with it, but this time we're going to do a different type of method than all of my other previous videos. In my other videos, what I've been doing is on the long tail side, I've been doing what's called a modified puff stitch in order to eat up one stitch to make it offset correctly. And in this video, I'm not going to be doing the modified puff. I'm going to show a different way on how to do it. Some people don't like the modified puff because it makes one side of their project bigger than the other, and it looks kind of wonky to them and they don't like it. So in this video, I'm going to show how to do it without having to do that modified puff stitch. So in this one, all your legs will land. All right, so I say that a lot in my videos. All your legs will land on the non-tail side, but on the other tail side, one of your legs is ate up in the chain stitch. But in this, it's not going to be that way. All right, so whenever you first start out with plan pooling, you want to look at what size hook that you're going to use. And in this one, it says it's an I hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter, but I have worked with this. I've already done a full blanket in it, and I wound up using my H hook on it. So, and my H is a 5.0. So I'm going to use my 5.0, and I'm just going to go ahead and chain through, and we're going to do multiple sequences on this as well. All right, so with plan pulling, you want to chain through as many sequences as you want it to be wide. All right, so I'm going to quickly chain up through, let's go with 3 sequences here. Okay, if I have a muddy leg, which I'm sure I will fix one muddy leg. I'll show you how to do that. Excuse me, but if I have any more muddies that, if they're not terribly bad, I'm just going to point it out, but I am going to keep going for time's sake. All right, so in this sequence, what we have is we have purple, pink, blue, green, blue. And then it starts over again. Purple, pink, blue, green, and the same shade of blue again. All right, so I'm going to go until I get to my 4th purple. All right, whenever you've been pulling for a while, you'll realize whenever you do multiple sequences like this, like if you want to do 5 repeats, that you only actually have to chain through about 4 of them. Your tail will be shorter. I've done that a lot whenever I have to make a nice wide throw blanket. I'll do about 4 or 5 sequences to make it wide enough where I want it to be. And each colorway is going to be different. Some colorways you only need to do 4 because it has a whole lot of, it doesn't have just 4 or 5 colors. It will have like 6 or 7. So then you need less repeats to make it as wide as you want it to be. Now others that only have 3 or 4 colors in the repeating pattern, you'll have to go with like 5 or 6 repeats. All right, so I'm going to come to this next purple, and this is where we are going to begin our moss stitch. All right, pulling out some more here. Hands of Fury. Alrighty. Okay, so here I have purple on my hook, and now I'm going to go, I've noticed I've said 4th from the hook, but I usually put it in at the 3rd from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, this is where I'm going to put it in at, and I'm going to begin the moss stitch. I like to go through 2. All right, so that's 1, skip 1, go to the next. 2. All right, so it's a single crochet and a chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1. All right, so I have 4 purples. All right, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1. Now with this, I already know that I'm going to have 3 pinks, so but here I've got some left over. What this is going to do, if I go ahead and do this, it's going to be really muddy and mucky, and I don't like that. I'm going to go ahead and take it out, and I'm going to loosen it up. Alright, so that I get 3 pinks. And I already know with Bright Mix that I have 4 purples and 3 of every other color. Alright, so that's better, but it's still not quite where I'd like it to be. I'm going to loosen these up a little bit too, so that it's more of a solid pink whenever I go into the pink stitches. Alright, so there's pink on my hook there. Okay, now there's blue on my hook going into it. There's still some pink on my hook, but there's blue going into this stitch. Alright, oopsies, 3 blue. And 2 and 3, and then I'll be doing 3 green. Alright, so this is a repeating pattern that you want to keep throughout your project. However many that you get on your first sequence, that's how many that you want through the whole thing. I've got some green left over here, so I need to loosen up this green. And it's funny, sometimes whenever you start a new skein and it can be the same dye lot as what you've been working on, there will be variations to it. Sometimes I have to tighten up the blue that immediately follows the pink because it's a little bit shorter in some places. Then like this green was actually longer than what my other skeins had been in this same one. Alright, so we want to keep the numbers the same. Sorry, I'm trying to keep inside my camera lens here. Alright, going into purple. Yeah, there's blue on my hook, but we're going to go in and do the 4 purples. 1, 2. So this is beginning the next color sequence, the next color repeat. So now I am just started my second repeat. So here's my first. I have purple, pink, blue, green, blue. Now I'm going to start again with purple. So this is my second sequence. Pink. Now I'm doing a single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, and there I did it again. I'll loosen these up a little bit. It's funny how different skeins will do that, even though they're the same. Alright, so we skip 1, and then I go into the next one. And I do a single crochet and a chain 1. So this is the moss stitch, also called the linen stitch, and then there's also the seed stitch. I think the seed stitch ends differently at the end of the row before you turn. So most people just call it the moss stitch, however they turn the rows, because it gets kind of confusing and a little bit complicated. Alright, put this over here out of the way. And at the end of this pink, you can kind of see how it's really all it really turns colors there before it goes into the blue. And that can be a problem because then it kind of makes your stitches look a little muddy. It makes them look a little purpley going in there. I don't like that. Sometimes you'll have that with yarn. You can try and eat it up and stuff to where it's not so bad. But whenever it's at the end of your color like that, it makes it very difficult. All right, so I'm keeping my numbers the same. 3 pink, 3 blue, 3 green, 3 blue. Single crochet, chain 1. And this first row is difficult. It does take longer to do because you're going into that base chain. Some people don't. Some people just chain over that base chain and then they can pull it out. They can pull out their starting chain whenever they finish and close it off, almost like the way that you bind off with knitting. I've tried it before. I don't like it. For me, it's awkward and a little bulky and stuff, and my stitches just don't land right. So I do it the long way, and I just go ahead and go into that base chain. All right, so this is purple again, so this is my third. All right, so this is my third sequence, and I'm doing 3 sequences. All right, I need to stop here a second. I'm doing 3 to help people with whenever they're doing sequences, doing more than one. They want to do more than just a scarf. They want to make a blanket. So I'm doing 3. 3 of them is not wide enough to be a blanket unless it's just like a really small, maybe like a car seat cover or something. You can do it that way. So what I'm going to do here though, so I'm starting my third one, and since purple is my first color in the start of my sequence, you could have started with blue, green, the first blue, or the pink. Either one that you wanted to start with, that's fine. It's your choice. You can end with the purple. But with here, what I'm going to do on this third one, since my purple has 4 stitches, it has the most out of all the sequences. All the other ones have 3, but my purple has 4. So in this one, in order to make the argyle pattern, and to make it do the planned pulling, I'm going to take out one of these stitches. So instead of having 4 purples, I'm going to have 3 purples. So in order to do that, I'm going to loosen up these blues to help me eat up that purple stitch. All right, I'm going to loosen these up so that I've got plenty of purple on my hook before I go in to do those 3. 1, 2, see now oh, that is 3. Okay, good. All right, now I'm going to do 3 purples. All right, so I'm going to do them a lot more loosely. I'll loosen them up here and try and get 3. I may need to switch to a larger hook size, which will definitely be a problem because I don't have one right here by me. All right, so I still have too much on here. I'm going to loosen it up some more. Usually whenever I start a project, and I start my videos, I like to have everything with me. All the hooks, all the different size hooks I need. And this time I actually did not do that. All right, because sometimes you have to shift down or up a hook size to get it to go right. But with Bright Mix, I haven't had to do that, so I didn't even think about it whenever I was gathering all my stuff. I got a new camera holder, and I hope it's working well. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3 blue. That blue's muddy. It's going into the purple. But I'm going to go ahead and do 3 purples. 1, 2, and 3. So in doing that, all right, perfect. Even though that's a little muddy going in there, but I'm going to count that one as one of my blue stitches. 1, 2, 3 blue. Okay. All right, so I've got 3 purple here. And to do this, I am going to mark it. So here is my other project that I have finished, almost finished. I got to put the border on it yet, but I mark it with a separate color so that whenever I come up to it, especially with multiple sequences, I see, okay, hey, I'm coming up to that section, so I'm going to have to make sure that these are looser, these are more loose, so that I can just get 3 stitches out of the purple. So here you can see I have 1, 2, 3 purples, 1, 2, 3 purple. Over here I have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So throughout this the entire width of this project, I have 4 purples. It's pretty wide. All right. And here, I only have 3. So whenever you look at it, when you kind of pan out a bit and you look at the whole thing, you really can't tell. It doesn't really catch your eye that there's only 3 purples here. All right. So I'm going to use this. And I like to use a nice bright color so that it's easy to be seen. And you're going to do it on the side that you're working on. I'm going to put it in here. And I don't have to do this every time. I don't have to take it out and drag it through it every time that I get to it. All right, and I'll show you as we come to it next round. Okay, so I'm going to continue on until I have purple again on my hook, and then that's where I'm going to turn it. I made that more loose so that I could get to the blue. All right, 1, 2, 3. Skip that one. And 3 green. 1, 2, 3, and then 3 blue. I hope I'm not going off camera. If I am, I'm sorry about that. It's still blue. It's still too much blue going into the purple. So what you would do is take that out, loosen it up, so that whenever you get to the purple, it's not muddy. But like I said, because of time, I'm going to continue going. 4 purples. No. This is where I'm going to turn because I've got 1, 2, 3 repeats. All right, I could do a 4th. I have plenty of room left on this tail to do 4. And whenever I did the chain, I did 3 repeats I chained through 3 repeats. So it actually has enough left that I could do a 4th, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and turn it here. All right. So I've got 1, 2, I finished my 3 blues, 1, 2, 3, and then I did the single crochet. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to turn. In my other videos, here is where I would take out another one, and I would do a modified puff stitch so that it would eat that up, and then I would turn it and begin with the purple. So there would only be 2 blues here, and then the 3rd stitch would be ate up in the turning chain. But we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to do, I've got my 3 blues, and now I'm going to start with purple. And I'm going to do 4 purples. 1. Now we go into the space that's left by the chain space. We're going to do a single crochet and chain 1. And this one is muddy. And I got a split leg there. All right, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 purples, and I'm gonna fix that because I don't like it. All right, so for those that are new to pulling and doing this, okay, we've got 1, 2, 3 blues. We chain 2 and we turn and we go into the space. Single crochet. I'm tightening up a little bit so that I don't get a muddy leg. 4 purples, 3. So I've made my stitches a bit tighter, and now I don't have a muddy leg or a split leg. All right, I'm going to do my 3 pinks. You want to keep your color count the same. 2. It's very, very important, the first 2 rows, that you keep your color count the same. Even if you don't want to be a counter, you don't have to count your stitches, but your first 2 rows you definitely do, because your first 2 rows have to be exactly the same. All right, 3 blues. I'm going into the space. All right, most people, by the time that they get to my videos, it's because they're having struggles. They're having a lot of problems pulling, and they haven't been able to figure it out. So I do go kind of quickly as I go through it, because I try to get to the problems that people have. I had a lot of problems when I was first trying to learn how to pull, and I just couldn't understand why, what was going on with it, and I was missing it in the turns. So that's whenever I started doing the modified puff stitch to eat up 1 stitch in the turn. And that's when I started doing my videos, because a lot of people were having the same struggles that I had. All right, I loosened that up because it was going to be muddy. Okay, so here you can see the gold, but it's on the other side. So we're just going to keep on going. And our purple stitches on this entire row are all 4 stitches. Okay, 3 blues. All right, so if I'm going a little fast for you, I apologize for that. I try to keep my videos about the same length in time, and I have to go kind of quickly to do that. And I want to get a lot in on this video because I'm doing 3 sequences. See how nasty, terrible that is? That is supposed to be pink, and it has got so much blue mixed in it, it's purple. But just have to keep going. That's just the way that this dye lot went. I really hate it when it does that. All right, so I'm keeping my color count the same. 3 of every color except for the purples. And I'm going into the chain space, and I'm doing a single crochet, and I'm chaining 1. There's a little bit of a muddy stitch. You want to fix that. You don't want to have muddy stitches. All right, so single crochet, chain 1. Into the chain space, single crochet, chain 1. So right in here, I'm going to do a single crochet and a chain 1. All right, and continue going on with that. I'm into my 3 blues. All right, so most of my viewers, they've watched everybody else, all the other pulling videos, and none of them have worked for them. So they know how to do the moss stitch. Most of y'all know the basic idea of what you got to do to pull. All right, so I'm not going to have enough here. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up so that I get enough of the purple. It's funny because some of these purples are longer than others. All right, so there we go. And I'm coming to the end. So I've got 3 repeats going. I've got 3 sequences going before I turn. And you can do more if you want to make it wider. 3 blue, 1, 2. You want to be careful too that you don't split your V. You want to make sure that you go into the chain space and not into the V. All right, you want to go into the space and not the V. All right, if you need to pause the video so that you can kind of do get to where I'm at, you can do that. And here we are, we're coming to the end. That's 1, 2, 3. All right, and I'm gonna have 1, 2 blues. Then I'm gonna chain up. Okay, so that's my single crochet, chain 2, turn, and 1 more blue is gonna go here. And now here, right away, you're gonna see that we're already gonna start the argyle pattern. We're gonna be shifted by 1. So this is purple here, and you want a blue stitch on top of that first purple, because then you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, and your 4th purple is gonna go right here above that first pink one. And that's exactly where you want it. So whenever you come to the 3rd row, whenever you come to this turn here, you wanna stop and you wanna look at your work and you wanna make sure that you're in the right place. Three and 4, stop and look, and it's perfect. I got purple right above that pink. So now my 3 pinks are going to go right here, 1, 2, and 3. And that is right where you want it to be. 1, 2. Oh, I felt like I was going to go through that V-stitch on the back. You want to be careful of that too. 3. I made that one looser. Okay. 3 blues. 1, 2, and I gotta remember I gotta go more loosely on the green because these greens are not as short as my previous skeins were. Alrighty. 1, 3 blues. Stop and check, make sure everything is still going correctly. So you can see how my greens are offset by 1. And these blues. And now I'm at purple. And purple is here. So I'm going to do 4 purples. 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to have much problem whenever I come to the 3 purple one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I pulled that out and I tightened it up to make sure that I got 4 stitches. And now I've got 3 pinks, and my first pink starts right here. 1, 2, and 3. 3 blues. 1, 2, tighten it up a little bit, and 3. Okay, I'm gonna pull some more yarn out over here. All right, 3 greens. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so I'm coming up to my purple. So I want to make sure I do this more loosely. Hopefully this purple will cooperate. 1, 2, 3. All right, so then my first purple starts here. 1. I'm gonna pull this up and just kind of tuck it under like that. 2 and 3. So it's got 3 purples there. And this is going to trail up just like that all the way throughout the entire project. And 3 pinks. What's interesting about it is as it goes up, as the pattern continues, it will continue to go up this way, and it goes all the way to the edge. Whenever it gets to the edge and you turn, it actually turns with it. So the three purple stitches will then be flipped over onto the other side. I didn't have enough blue there, so I'm frogging it out a bit, tightening them up, so I have 3 blue. 1, 2, 3. All right, 3 green. 1, 2. And 3. And then here we are coming to the edge. All right, so I'm going to have 2 blue, just like I did on the opposite side. 1, 2, chain 2. And then my third blue is going to go right here above the purple, just like the other side was. It's a mirror image of itself. All right, and then my 4 purples are going to start right here. 1, 2, 3, and number 4 is going to go there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now with my pooling, I don't do the modified puff anymore with my projects. I do it this way. 1, 2, and I wanted to share it with all of y'all. I know some people don't like the modified puff stitch and they want a different way to do it. They want to do it without the modified puff, and this is the way you do it. You take 1 stitch out of one of your longer colorways, one of your longer colors. So if you have a sequence where you got 6 of one color and you have like maybe 3 or 4 of some other colors, you want to take it out of the one that has the 6. Three. Tighten it up. No, still not going to get enough. Tighten it up here. I've done it so often I can tell if I'm going to have a muddy leg or not. All right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's right where it needs to be. We're going to continue on. And then you can tell, like, some people might get confused whenever they start, whenever it's at a section where it's all crossing over like that. Whenever you're at a section where it's crossing over, make sure that you look to the colors that are on the outsides and make sure that those are lining up correctly. If those are lining up correctly, then the blob of color that's in the middle is going to be lined up just fine as well. Almost a little bit muddy there, but I'm going to continue on. My 3 greens, my first one starts here. And my cat is coming up. Oh, move, sweetie. I know, honey. Come over here. There you go. Okay. My kitty wanted to lay on my lap. All right, 3 blues. I want to continue on and do 2 more rows, at least 2 more rows. So here I am. I always like to stop and check and make sure that I'm still doing it correctly. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my 4th one is above the pink. And my first pink one starts above the second pink one, which is right where it needs to be. I'm really not happy about how purple that is. Is what it is though. All right, so just keep on going. All right, my greens. 1, 2, 3. All right, so whenever you get to the edge, you want to make sure that you find exactly where you're supposed to be. So you need to go in right where you chain 2. That is going to be between the chain 2 and that last stitch there is where you want to be. All right, so sometimes I use this part of the hook and I go to the side of that V and just kind of pull it over and so I can get it in between there. And sometimes I check the back too to make sure that I don't split the V, because that can happen as well. All right, single crochet, chain 2, so that was 1 blue, number 2 blue, and number 3 blue. All your legs are going to land, all your stitches are going to count, none are going to be ate up in a chain. Okay, and then you have nice straight square edges on both sides. All right, I'm going to continue on. So always stop and look whenever you turn. So here I have my purple is going to begin right here. So I got purple, purple, and now purple. 4 purples. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and onto the pink. And that's exactly where you want it to be. 1, 2, and 3. And I do crochet very fast, but it's just a basic single crochet and a chain 1. The most important thing is getting to the pattern so that you can see the pattern. See how the pink is all just kind of blurring there in the middle? You always want to look to the outsides and make sure that those are lining up correctly. All right. Pull out more yarn. Okay. 3 blues. Whoops, lost that one. 4 purples. 2, 3, and 4. And they are lining up correctly. 1, 2, 3 pinks. 3 blues. 2 and 3. 3 greens. And then here we are, we're coming up to the purple again. Alright, so I'm going to do this blue a bit loosely. 1, 2, yarn's all wadded. 3. Alright, and if I've got purple on my hook here like this, I know I'm going to be able to loosen it up nicely. Alright, 1. With the second stitch, I pull that up. I get it to where I catch it in it. And continue right on going. So that was 3 purples, and now I'm onto the pink. And it's lined up correctly. 1, 2, and 3. 3 blues. And 3 greens. Alright, and here I am. So I want to look and see, okay, here's my single crochet, the V, and then these are the chains. So I'm going to go right into there, make sure I don't split the V, and do 1, chain 2, turn it over, and my next 2 blue stitches are going to go right there because all your legs have to land, and we are not doing a modified puff on this side. Usually on the long tail side I was doing modified puff stitches, but because we are taking out a stitch here, we're no longer doing the modified puffs. You can continue doing the modified puff stitch, that is fine if that's the technique that you like to do. That is great. And I don't mind the way that it looks on this side. In fact, whenever I put a border on it with the modified puff on this side, it actually makes it easier to identify where my border stitch goes in. I just put it in at the bottom of the V on each one, and with that modified puff being there, it actually looks really nice on that side. I always like it anyway. But some people don't like it, so we're doing this method. I don't have enough blue, so I'm going to loosen it up. And see, then, and the gold is right there. It's on that side. You could kind of see it flipping up as I was working with this blue here. But here's the three purples. Here I have 4 purples, and here I have 3. But it's on that side. So we just continue right on. We just keep on going. Pull that green a little tighter. Okay. 3 green. 1, 2, 3. 3 blue. 4 purple. Stop and look. My first purple starts here. So all my stitches are landing in the correct places. All the colors are going right where they belong. 3 pinks. 1, 2, and 3. 3 blue. 2 and 3. I really like it when the colors flow nice and easily like Bright Mix does. I would take that out and make it to where there's blue on my hook so that it's not too muddy, but for time's sake I'm not going to. But I do like the way that Bright Mix flows. I can usually whip through it pretty quick. I don't have to do a whole lot of adjusting with my tension with it. And some yarns, once you get to know the color itself, once you get to know it well enough, you'll find that you can whip through them pretty quick, and that you have to do like one color more loosely than you have to do another color to get it to flow right. And then you can just keep on trekking along. I know I got to do these blues tighter. I know I have to do this green more loosely. 2. And here I'm like, so where is the stitch? Here's the V. I'm going to pull it to the side and poke it in there. And there we go. Chain 2. 3 blues. Stop and look. 1, 2, 3 blues. So we are right on track. And it's going perfectly. All right. I will continue with this one. All the way down this row. And then I believe I'll call her done. I'm going to check my video. If I didn't go off camera too terribly bad, then I'm going to save it. And I'm hoping that I didn't, because it takes a lot to do a video. And I feel like I've explained myself in this one fairly well. Sometimes whenever I have to redo a vid, I don't explain as well as I had been. I miss some important details. And then I find myself having to backtrack. Oh, I forgot to mention this. And I don't want to do that. So, 4 purples. And whenever you have ones that go as well as this one, with 4 purples and everything else is a 3 count, it does make it easier to do as well. There's other very, very beautiful colorways where you have 2 stitches of one and like 6 stitches of another, and they make gorgeous designs. I did do Woodsy. Woodsy's very pretty. Woodsy was the devil. Okay, so here we're back to the purple, where it's 3 stitches. And I really wasn't paying attention because I was talking. So hopefully I've got it loose enough. And 2 and 3. See, that way there, with it being marked, if I didn't have it marked, and sometimes you just mindlessly go through it and you don't pay attention, and then you realize, oh, that was where I was supposed to do 1 less stitch and I didn't. And then you find your pattern is not going correctly. Maybe I'll do a video of Woodsy. Woodsy was gorgeous. Alrighty. I did do a long explanation of how I did the colors, how I marked the colors for Woodsy in different grouping and such. I chained up 2. And now I'm going to do 3 blues. Alright, so I hope that helps. If I didn't do a clear enough video, I apologize. I've done so many of them now, and if I missed important points to it, forgive me, I'm sorry. Let's see, so that's the way that it's looking. Nice design pattern going there. Let's see, this looks 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes, it's correct. It's just going to start merging there in the middle. It looked a little off, and that had me a little bit concerned, but no, it's correct. All right, and flip it over, and then there, as you can see, is where we will be following with the 3 purples instead of the 4. All right, and see how it just kind of looks like a jumbled mess, but if you look to the sides, to the other colors, you see that it's going correctly. And then once you get longer and longer and further along into the project, you will see that it comes out right. See how it looks like a jumbled mess whenever you're just right there in it and you're not sure if it's going right, but once you come out of it, it's going just fine. Okay, so hope you liked the video, and hit subscribe, and I hope to be bringing more videos out, and more plan pooling and other things as well. So thanks for watching, thanks for viewing, and God bless you all.